¿verdad? Que las tierras mejores las tiene el señor Miguel Facusel, ¿verdad? Y también las enclaves bananeras.
So when they come out with these statistics, they do so with an objective. When they demonstrate the economic poverty that we experience in our country, there is always when they produce these statistics, they always do so with objectives in mind, with particular purposes. When they talk of the poverty, the economic poverty in our country, there are economic interests that are behind them, such as model cities, so that are causing large problems. They say that they are in order to increase investment, and this is the same with these hydroelectric projects and these mining and extractivist projects. This model city, for instance, is the privatization of our territory. This is the concessioning of our territory to install projects of large companies and corporations. So they say that they are putting these projects in to give incentive for, they are not talking about giving incentive for small producers within the country. And yes, I do think that there are better ways to go about this. For instance, a project of rural collection boxes, passing it around a rural community where they can put 10 cents, 20 cents, 100 lempiras, and this can go to financing a small project within the rural communities. So there is a need for these hydroelectric projects for Honduras to develop, because we see that the only development that it brings is for the economic profits of multinational corporations. So it's not for the land of campesinos or small farmers. It improves the land, but for the benefit of people like Miguel Facuse and the banana industry.
Y quiero ponerles otro ejemplo que es preciso. Por ejemplo, la concesión minera de San Andrés Copán, con una sola tonelada que exportan, se terminaría toda la pobreza en nuestro país. Con una sola tonelada que dejaran, por ejemplo, para Honduras, y en el año son cantidad de toneladas de oro, ¿verdad? Que sacan de esos cerros importantísimos donde viven pueblos indígenas. Entonces, tienen una cuota del 1%, pero que ni lo pagan tampoco, o sea que no lo facturan, solo dicen que no hay, que está bien rentable, no está ni rentable, que todo eso, ¿verdad? Se inventan varias excusas para no pagar el 1% a lo que es el país. Imagínense si cuántas concesiones mineras. Fíjese que solo en el Mochito tiene más de 20 años de estar esa concesión minera, y o sea que Honduras fuera posible la potencia más grande del mundo posible económicamente, ¿verdad? Porque ahí han sacado cantidad de toneladas, y que ya el cerro ha quedado ya movible, ¿verdad? Y han contaminado demasiadísimo lo que es un lago, ¿verdad? Es el lago de Yohoa, y que está contaminado totalmente.
La primera mina que mencionó era San Andrés
Copán.
Y tienen una cuota que tienen que pagar
El 1%.
1% al gobierno
Sí.
hondureño. Y la próxima que ha existido 20 años es la donde
Mochito.
Mochito. And I would also like to give another particular example. There was a mine in San Andres of Copan that with only 1 megaton of the gold that they're extracting, it could end poverty completely in Honduras. Imagine, this is how much gold they're extracting, megatons and megatons. And they have a quota of paying 1%, but they do everything within their power to not pay this 1% to Honduras, because they say that it is not profitable, that it isn't something that they can do. They're constantly inventing excuses to not pay this to the country. Another mine in Mochito that has existed for 20 years, and it has extracted megatons and megatons. And if this were all going to the benefit of Honduras, Honduras would be one of the largest economic powers in the world. And instead, it is polluting the lake. It's Lake Yahoa, and it is left completely polluted.
Time for one last question.
Tiempo para una pregunta más.
No sé si como llegar a específicamente hablo de esto, pero sobre los nuevos zonas económicos y los nuevos modelos, no sé si puedes hablar un poco sobre qué tipo de actividades hacen en las ciudades modelos. Y una otra pregunta es qué tipo de coordinación tiene entre este grupo y grupos en Bajo Agua, en ciudades o problemas, por ejemplo, just wondering, I don't know if you already spoke about the new economic. Sure, was wondering about the model economic cities and coordination between the different groups in Honduras that face violence.
Si puede explicar más sobre las ciudades modelos, de qué se trata, y también de las redes de los movimientos sociales.
Bueno, las ciudades modelo en nuestro país, entre comillas, dicen que es un desarrollo, ¿verdad? Y que eso es la privatización, ¿verdad?, del territorio, y también la entrega de la soberanía o la pérdida de la soberanía, porque ahí van a haber leyes, por ejemplo, de Nevada. Ustedes saben dónde queda, ¿verdad? Aquí en Estados Unidos, y es un señor que se llama Michael Strong, ¿verdad? Ese es el que quiere invertir en nuestro país, o sea, quiere invertir pero no para nuestro país, y sino que quiere que le concesionen sin pagar un centavo, ¿verdad? Y hacer una ciudad privatizada, que ahí, por ejemplo, ahí no puede entrar nadie, no puede entrar nadie de nosotros siendo hondureño, ¿verdad? Porque está privatizado y ahí hay gente de otros países, por ejemplo, que van a vivir, ¿verdad? O van a tener su propia seguridad, van a tener su propio gobierno, ¿verdad? Incluso si su economía solo donde va a tener parte el gobierno es cuando aprueban los presupuestos, por ejemplo en diciembre, que aprueban el presupuesto que tiene que darle una porción de la economía del Estado a ese otro Estado que se ha formado, privatizado, pero de ahí para allá algunos ingresos que tengan, no va a salir nada para el país. Entonces, imagínense qué es lo que pasa con las ciudades modelo. Perdemos la soberanía, perdemos también el territorio, ya no vamos a tener control como territorio, y ahí cantidad de compañeros y compañeras tendrán que salir, ¿verdad? Porque se están ubicando en Tela, donde está el pueblo garífuna, y en la zona sur, donde están los campesinos y campesinas. Sobre las redes, rápidamente, porque creo que... sí.
Ya me olvidó. So speaking of the model cities, this is something that they say, and I put this in quotes, is development for our country. What it is actually meant is the privatization of our territory. It is the turning over of our sovereignty. And they are going to take up laws from Nevada. Do you all know where Nevada is? It's in the United States. And this is going to be for the benefit of people like Mr. Michael Strong, who want to invest in Honduras. But what this has really meant is the concessioning of Honduras to people who will not pay a cent. And even Hondurans will not be able to enter this territory because it is completely privatized. It will be people from other countries who are living there. And they'll have their own system of security, their own government. And the only time that the Honduran government will see any portion of this is when they approve the budget in December so that they can have a small portion of the profits. But the great majority of this profits are not going to go towards the benefit of our country. This is going to merely be a loss of our sovereignty, a loss of territory over which we will have no control. And many people will need to leave the country because this is being set up in the region of Tela, where there are many Garifuna communities, and to the south, where there are many campesinos or small farmers living.
Bueno, sobre los tipos de cómo es la forma de organización, nosotros estamos organizados en 3 departamentos como COPIN, como organización indígena. Y en la articulación estamos con los movimientos campesinos, con los movimientos, otros movimientos indígenas como los Coninch, que son de los mayas, los Ofranes allá en el Atlántico, con compañeras mujeres, con compañeros de la diversidad sexual, ¿verdad? Que estamos organizados, y otra cantidad de organizaciones que estamos organizados y estamos haciendo articulaciones. Tenemos articulaciones ya continentales y también regionales, porque este 12 de octubre realizaremos una movilización. Se va a realizar una movilización en conjunto, se inicia desde el 10, ya que es el miércoles, ¿verdad? Hasta el 12, y que esas ya son algunos productos de la articulación. Y también estamos organizados ya en la cuestión regional o de nuestra organización por consejos indígenas comunales, consejos indígenas municipales, consejos indígenas departamentales, ¿verdad? Para poder enfrentar estos megaproyectos y este sistema neoliberal.
And to the question of how it is that we organize ourselves, we as COPIN, as an indigenous organization, are represented in 3 departments of Honduras, 3 states. And we have connections with campesinos, small farmer movements. We have links with other indigenous groups, such as Conich, which is a Mayan organization. We also have links with Ofrane, which is an organization on the Atlantic coast. We're also linked with women's groups and movements within the sexual diversity community, and many, many organizations. And we work on a continental level.
Ustedes trabajan en un nivel continental,
Sí.
Y del 10 hasta el 12
Hay movilización.
And from the 10th until the 12th of this month, we will be taking up protests, that is this week. And these are the ways that we work together as organizations on the regional level. And we bring together indigenous people on municipal, community, and the department level for consultations and speaking about ways in which we can confront this neoliberal system and these large mega projects.
I think we're going to take a couple minutes to talk about how to learn more, how to stay involved, what we can do as U.S. citizens.
podemos hacer
I'm gonna
como
give just a few
esta
websites.
Voy a dar unos sitios web.
Can you read this? Kind of? Nope. Red? Witness for Peace.org, and there's also a special page for the Midwest. So you can learn about events happening here in the Midwest and things that are happening specifically in our congressional world. In terms of Copine, their direct website is here. It is currently in Spanish, and we're working on, with Copine in terms of getting more of it translated into English. They've had some trouble with it being hacked, so there are times when it'll be cleared off, but it should be back up there. If you don't see things on there, keep an eye on it. Witness for Peace, in terms of our website, choose your social media. If you'd rather communicate with us by Facebook, we have Facebook pages, we have Twitter, we can send out emails through our email list as well. Also, and we have a blog as well. Copine also has a blog. Here's the website for them. In terms of further education, we're taking a delegation to Honduras. It's November 8th through 18th. Actually, today is the deadline, and we don't have the numbers that we need. So we're really hoping to have some applications come in before midnight. If you're considering it, it doesn't have to be before midnight. Just check in with us, and we can tell you about this really important delegation. It's going to be meeting with Copine and some other community groups on the ground in Honduras. And then the second piece is going to be at the SOA protest in Fort Benning to report back about what we found. So it's a two-part international delegation with a piece back in the States. Please just come up and talk to me afterwards if you're interested. In terms of other delegations, there are two other ones that we're taking out of the Midwest coming up. There's a delegation that I'm taking to Cuba. It's for community, labor, grassroots, and campus organizers. And we're going to connect with organizers in Cuba and learn from them about the ways to navigate the system in Cuba and share techniques and ideas about organizing. Finally, in January, this is over the University of Wisconsin break, so those of you who are students or faculty here that work for your schedules. We're taking a delegation to Columbia, January 4th through 14th. I'm going to be leading this delegation as well, examining the past and present failures of the war on drugs and exploring grassroots alternatives. We're going to be mostly in the Valle del Cauca and then in Bogota, looking at the historical effects of the war on drugs, the current effects of the war on drugs, and current resistance movements on the ground. There's information here about internships. We do internships here in the Midwest. You can do them from afar, from here in Madison, or from any of the states in our region. We also do have positions open on our IT team. This is the role that Rael's playing here. It's a 2-year commitment. We have openings right now in Colombia, and we're going to have openings in Mexico soon. So if it's kind of a 2-year commitment, working with people on the ground, documenting human rights abuses and the effects of U.S. policy, accompanying, interpreting, and hosting delegations of U.S. citizens that come down. It's really amazing work, and certainly connect with us if you're interested in that sort of a way to get involved. I'm just going to talk really quickly about actions. There's this yellow sheet here. This is 5 actions you can take for Honduras. There's information about how to get educated. We have a wonderful toolkit on our website that has all kinds of multimedia sources, articles, all kinds of things to learn more. There's information about how to educate others and bring in events like this one. How to pressure the U.S. government to stop military aid to Honduras. Tammy Baldwin was one of the writers of the most recent Dear Colleague letter. She's been a great supporter of this, especially violence against the LGBT community. So in terms of an ally here for Honduras community, she's really been one of the leaders on this in Congress. But everyone in Congress needs to be pushed on this issue. There's more information about how to get Honduras into the media and current protest movements and activist movements that are happening. Finally, I'm just going to do a quick plug for Witness for Peace funding. We are really grateful for Lassies for bringing us in here and helping us. We're currently running a campaign trying to get sustainers. to help us be able to know that we're going to have funding months in advance so we can keep planning a little bit further in advance. We're asking for people to sign up to be monthly or quarterly donors, even $10 a month really helps us know that we can plan in advance and know that we're going to have that funding coming in. So if you're somebody who feels like you can make a commitment like that for the next few years, $10, $15 a month really does help this organization. And we're specifically tied issues in the Midwest to issues in Latin America, and you will see us more in your community if we have more ability to be around more. So I'd just like to finish by thanking Tomas for being here. It is such an inspiration to have him here, and it's been such a pleasure being with you all. And I'd like to end with a round of applause for Tomas. We'll be around here for a few more minutes informally, so feel free to come and check in. And if you'd like to ask a question personally, we can help translate.
And then another question for you.
Okay. Yeah.
Hi. I have